Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Into the 99 podcast, where we've got 99 cards because Commander is number one. I am your hostess with the mostest, Necrozak, and as always, I am joined by two of my dearest friends in the world, Brian and Ryan. Hello, fellas. How are you doing?
Good
Not
morning.
bad. Not bad, not bad.
So, if you're familiar with the Commander variant, Magic the Gathering, where we do a 99 singleton deck centered around the color identity of a legendary creature, then you know that this episode is all specifically about spoilers to Kaldheim and all the cards we want to put in these new commander decks or build decks around. So today we're going to be going over a bunch of the cards. We're going to talk about cards that we like, cards that we hate, cards that are probably going to be really good, and cards that are probably still going to be really good because, let's be honest, Magic only builds for us now. They only make sets for Commander.
It's really looking that way. But
I'm fine with it. Like, I feel bad for my friends who want to play Standard, but, like, guys.
It definitely seems like they're, even when they say they aren't building for us in specific, you look at some of these sets and you're like, how would that card not be made specifically for Commander players?
Exactly. So I'm sure you guys, if you're in the community at all, you've probably seen a lot of these cards already spoiled. So bear with us if this sounds like you're hearing the same thing over and over again, but you're going to get our take on it, which I believe is, unique enough that
warrants a listen. Warrants a listen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wonderful, so I just assume people want to listen to me talk anyways.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I've been just, life has been super busy this spoiler season, so like, unfortunately, I haven't posted anything for us really for spoilers. So I'm excited because I haven't seen much of these.
There's some sweet stuff in this set. There are two, I don't want to say mechanics, but two
unique things coming in. So
yeah,
I think I heard of them, but we can always get into it on when it comes up on a card.
Well, there's a card type I'm very excited that is back, and there's also another keyword that's back that I'm super happy about. We'll touch on them when we get there, but Ryan, do you want to start us off? Since this is your first spoiler episode with us, you want to start us off with the first card of the spoilers?
Sure. The first one is Halvar, God of Battle. He's 2 colorless, white, legendary creature god, and he's a 4/4. He says creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike, and at the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control.
It's very cool.
So obviously it lets you during combat move your auras and equipment around. Is that how I'm reading that?
At the beginning of combat, so you move to combat and then you have a trigger and you're able to swap stuff around, which is great because we just saw this kind of stuff with Arden, from Commander Legends, but this is even better because if you don't have double strike already, you just can give something double strike.
Well, wouldn't you be able to stack the triggers? So if you do have Arden and you have this guy in, say, that Rock and Arden deck, you equip everything to Rock, and then you can feel free to disseminate it to the rest of your creatures. So it doesn't have to be a Voltron.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know why you would necessarily do it that way when you could just use the trigger and.
Oh yeah, I guess I must have read it wrong. But yeah, I thought it had to be on a creature. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
It is super cool. And then I think another thing, part of the card is they're also, all of the gods in this set are modal, so they have things on the back.
I really find these cards interesting. I'm really happy that they've continued to print them.
And the modal, so its other side is Sword of the Realms, and it's a colorless and a white for a legendary artifact equipment. And it says, equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. And whenever equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. And its equip cost is a colorless and a white.
I wish so badly I could just have this like in the deck as this card. I don't even want to have Halvar as the option. Like I want the sword to be the main card and Halvar to be the option.
I mean, you can play it as your commander, and then can you play it from the command zone as the flip?
Yes, you can.
So I mean, You
So
still have the option right off the bat to put the sword into play.
for me personally, I want this in Glen, and I want the equipment side always, so I could search for the equipment. But yeah, these are sweet. I'm not a huge fan of like we talked about in Hush. I'm not a huge fan about the modal lands, but these modal cards where it's like creature one side, spell on the other, or creature on one side, now artifact on the other. I really really like these kind of things. It's cool to keep seeing them. We have a
Yeah, it's
unique
opened up
one.
a lot of really unique design space.
I really like the art of the sword.
Yes. That was something cool too. We get if you guys haven't seen, if you've been kind of avoiding spoilers intentionally or unintentionally, like Brian, we have showcase arts again for these cards, which is great. But the showcase art is very unique. Instead of it just being like, a full art or whatever, they kind of look like they're etched in stone, like they're runes, which is very very cool. It's very flavorful.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance to look at these yet, Mythic Spoiler has everything up, and you can click on the card individually, and you can hover over it, and it'll show you the showcase art. It's phenomenal. Well, with that, Brian, do you want to read this next god?
Sure. So this next one's going to be Allrund. Hopefully I said that name right.
Oh yeah, if we offend anyone indirectly because of our pronunciations, I went to public school. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we have Allrund, God of the Cosmos, 3 and 2 blue, legendary creature god. Allrund gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand and each foretold card you own in exile. And foretold, or I believe foretell, are the same mechanic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Foretell is on the card, and it would have been weird if it would have been for each foretell.
Yeah. So, and then at the beginning of your end step, choose a card type. Then remove the top 2 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's a pretty neat ability. And then the flip, or the modal, is Haka, Whispering Raven, 1 and a blue. Legendary creature bird, flying. When Haka, Whispering Raven deals combat damage to a player, return it to its owner's hand, then scry 2. That's cool. Okay. So you can play it as the Raven, hit the person, scry the 2, and then adjust the cards as you wish, and then return it to your hand and play him. That's cool. I like it.
I think it's really interesting because it's a nice tempo card. So if you want to, let's say you're playing a mono blue deck with this as your commander, like you want to be doing stuff off the very beginning. We're playing commander, so like you can play Haka on turn 2, then set up your next 2 turns, and then return them to your hand and play your god. I really like the design space here.
Yeah, this is really cool.
When I initially saw this guy, I really wanted to build him as a commander in a kind of a foretold deck. But then looking through the set, there's not a lot of mono blue foretell to actually build around. But he is super cool.
And the pre-con legendary creature is very good for foretell. It's so good.
Little birdie might be building that.
Yeah.
And then we have the art for it, like the flip art, or the alt art, I should say.
Oh, the alt art is so much cooler.
Yep. The alt art for Allrund. This is
100% Odin.
Yeah.
He's just missing a second. He's missing a second Raven, but this is 100% Odin.
So cool.
So the next card in the set, I'm super excited about, and it's very unique for the modal stuff. So it's Valki, God of Lies. It's 1 black for a legendary creature god, 2/1. When Valki enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. Then you can pay X. You choose a creature card exiled with Valki with CMC X. Valki becomes a copy of that card. You guys know my love for copying.
Yeah, that's going in your It deck.
And it's very unique too because it's mono black. Well, it's not mono black technically, it's Rakdos, because on the flip side, you have Tibalt Cosmic Imposter for 5 black and a red.
Yeah, this is supposed to
It's
be
a
Loki.
yeah, it's a 5 loyalty planeswalker, and it says as to vault ETBs, you get an emblem with you may play cards exile with to vault Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. His +2 is exile top card of each player's library. -3, exile target artifact or creature. -8, exile all cards from all graveyards. Add triple red. So very, very unique. When you build these cards and when you're looking at color identity, though, the thing you have to keep in mind is even if you're just playing Valky is technically not a mono black card. It is for color identity's sake. If you put it in a mono black commander, it would technically not be legal because its actual color identity is Rakdos, because Tibalt on the back is Rakdos.
Tibalt's alt art looks awesome.
Yes.
I love the frame of this card. This looks amazing.
The frames are insane. Like, you guys do yourself a favor and go look at the showcase art for these cards. It's phenomenal.
I will say, if I was rich, I would absolutely get one of the amazing altarists out there to do this, but do Loki from the Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm. Well, so
I didn't like
now
his helmet.
I liked Loki and Ragnarok's helmet the best. It was more of the simple like band with horns, which is what we see normally. But Brian, you want to, or well, Ryan, I should say, since we're going to go in this order to keep things sensible.
Yeah. Terolf, God of Fury. It's 2 colorless, red. Legendary creature god, 5/4. It has trample. And whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Terolf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. And then its flip is Torolf's Hammer. It's a colorless and a red for a legendary artifact equipment. And Torolf, or equipped creature, has 1 colorless red, tap, unattached Torolf's Hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target and then return it to its owner's hand. And equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's legendary and it's equipped. It's a colorless and a red.
So this has to be a callback to what's it, Bogardian Hammer, I think is what it's called.
Kind of, yeah.
I love when they do this too with, I don't know, I haven't looked at all the gods, but where we're getting the card back to our hand if we play it for its flip side. Typically, like the god's more expensive because it does more, but we're not getting punished for like, well, I could only play the hammer on turn 2 and I didn't have anything else to do. So we're still going to be able to play the god eventually. I really like that they did that.
I like how that hammer looks like Thor's hammer for the alt art.
Mm-hmm. These alt art, these showcase arts are phenomenal. They did such a good job.
I want all of them. Even if I'm not playing with the cards, I want them all.
Like, I was this way about the comic book cards from Ikoria, but man, I think these are better than the comic book cards. Not to say the art was bad or anything, just that the art is so unique and different for this set. Brian, this god seems like a card you would play. So
I have to say the alt art or the showcase art for Torolf is amazing. I absolutely loved that. Like the guy being electrocuted is I find it great fun.
Very good use of white. Like it's so cool.
So we have I'm gonna butcher this name. Isica? I don't know. God of the Tree. 1 and 2 green. Legendary creature god, vigilance. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Other legendary creatures you control have vigilance and tap to add 1 mana of any color. Amazing. And then her modal side is the Prismatic Bridge. It is Wooburg, legendary enchantment, and at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or a planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, like I don't like that it's planeswalkers, but at least it's just another type instead of just leaving it at creatures.
Yeah. We've already seen like these kind of 5-color decks that care about upkeep triggers, like with the Sassy Shrines deck. Like we've seen a lot of like stuff that already. So there's already kind of like an archetype here for this card. But man, I don't know. That's just nuts.
It does work.
Man, these showcase altars just keep blowing me away.
They're very, very good.
Do you guys care if I take the next card?
Oh,
yeah,
by all means.
So the next one is Starheim Unleashed. It's 2 colors and a white for sorcery, and it create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. If this spell was foretold, create X of those tokens instead, and it has foretell, which is XX white. And then foretell, for any of you that haven't read it, is during your turn, you may pay 2 colorless and exile this card from your hand face down, cast it at a later time, or cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost. So it's kind of like a morph for spells, kind of.
And I think they still have to, they care about their timing restriction. I'm fairly positive.
Yes,
so
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I did hear that as well.
Yeah, this is another card, like, once again, the art's beautiful. And even the showcase and the normal art, like all the art's great. Just
I want this in foil so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be stunning. Brian, you want to take this next card since you read?
Sure. We got Alrin's Epiphany. 5 and 2 blue. It is a mythic rare because we're talking about mythics right now. And create 2 1/1 blue bird creature tokens. See, there's his second and third raven.
Yeah. Mini raven. No, it's murder. It's a murder of ravens.
Yeah. And then take an extra turn after this one, exile Alrin's Epiphany, and you could foretell it for 4 and 2 blue. And again, during your turn, you may pay 2 colorless and exile this card from your hand and face down and cast it later for its foretell cost. Like, yeah, I have to say it's really interesting. Like, because if someone's about to wheel, could you not pay the 2 colorless to foretell it?
No, I think you. I don't know what the time.
Like, does the foretell? Okay, we'll have to chat with a judge.
I'll look up the foretell while you guys keep going.
Okay, cool. Because I really want to talk about this next card. This is one of the mythics I'm gonna like bust my butt to get. It's Haunting Voyage. 4 black for a sorcery. You choose a creature type. Return up to 2 creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was foretold, return all creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield instead, and foretell is 5 black. What's super awesome about this card, I really love bringing stuff back from the graveyard. I don't play a lot of tribes, but when I do, like, stuff like this is great. So I would always play Patriarch's Bidding, which is 3 black. It's a sorcery. Each player chooses a creature type and brings those creatures back. This only hits your stuff. So I never want to help my opponents at all.
Gee, thanks, Zach.
Okay.
I have one deck dedicated to being nice to people.
So foretell is you can anytime during your turn, you may pay 2 and exile a foretell card face down.
Oh, it's during your turn. Never mind.
And then you can only activate the foretell cost on a future turn. So you can't activate its cost the same turn you play it.
Gotcha.
But what's nice though is as long as the foretold card doesn't get like disrupted in some way when you're foretelling it, we have no way to deal with those cards as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah, how can you exile exiled cards?
Yeah, and
I mean, if there's like cards, I would assume like Draenith Magistrate.
Yeah, it's very niche. But yeah, so Haunting Voyage, super psyched about this card. Someone want to take the next one?
This guy looks pretty cool. Quakebringer.
Yeah, this guy's nuts.
Is awesome.
3 and 2 red. Giant Berserker. Okay, I'll give Wizards credit. We're getting some more giant tribal here. But Wizards, give me my worms. That's all I'm asking for. So, first ability, your opponents can't gain life. I love this. I play lots of Mogus style decks where I'm preventing people from doing certain things, or just can't gain life. If you gain life, you're going to lose it. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, Quakebringer deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only if Quakebringer is on the battlefield, or if Quakebringer is in your graveyard and you control a giant. Foretell for 4, 2 and 2 red.
This guy's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to rebuild Mogus.
Yeah, probably.
And do like giant tribal, or like try to do something that sounds kind of cool. Be interesting.
There's a lot of giant love in this set. It's one of the clans, so they got a lot of really cool tools.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll read this next one. It's Battle Mammoth, 3 green for a 6/5 elephant with trample. Whenever a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or an ability your opponent's controlled, you may draw a card, and you can foretell it for 2 green.
I really like this card.
Yeah, seems good. It's
interesting because a lot of my stuff gets targeted, and I play green.
It's pretty much what I expect from green. Be above the curve, do strong stuff. Like I'm not just like it's good. Like what else do I need to say?
I definitely think this is going to be in our world, I definitely think this is going to be a card on turn 2. You're going to play it face down, and then on turn 4, you're going to try to get him out. I can't see this card going on turn being paid 5 mana for it. So a lot of times decks have nothing to do on turn 2 unless you're ramping or casting some small dork.
Yep. Or not playing anything.
That's also a thing.
Brian, you want to take the next one?
Sure. So we got Resplendent Marshal, which is Angel Warrior, costs 1 and white. Flying, when Resplendent Marshal enters the battlefield or dies, at least gets both, you may exile another creature card from the graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control other than Resplendent Marshal that shares a creature type with the exiled cards. It's nice to see Angels getting some love, but I wish they would have introduced another creature type, Valkyrie. But that's like the same thing.
Yeah. I think his card is super sweet. It does a lot of really cool stuff. The fact that it's a 3-cost angel is really, really appealing. I know I have a lot of friends that
3 for a 3/3.
Yeah, well, it's just the fact that it's 3 for a 3/3 angel. That's a big deal. Like typically the angels in that realm, I think, are non-existent.
I think the other one's Resplendent Angel that costs 3.
I think you're right. They're still like few and far between, but just seeing a cheap cost angel that powerful is awesome.
You must be happy about the next card, Zach.
I am very happy about the next 2 cards, but yeah, I definitely want to read this one. It's Orvar, the All Form, 3 green for a legendary creature, Shapeshifter, 3/3. This was what I was alluding to earlier. One of my favorite, I don't know if it's keywords or ability, whatever you want to refer to it as, but Changeling has made a comeback. And if you don't know what Changeling is, Changelings are all creature types. Just, that's it. Every creature type. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more other permanents you control, create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. Just insane. Yes, I'm so excited about that.
That's been like the last 2 sets that have had like a really good like shapeshifter come out of it.
And shapeshifter is my favorite creature type. I absolutely love like shapeshifters. I love everything that they do because they're very unique, very niche. But yeah, when I saw this guy spoiled, or this thing spoiled, I was like, yeah, I'm building mono blue, like clone tribal.
I thought this would for certain see a home in your your salamander deck.
See, it's gonna be like Sakashima from Commander Legends. I have like 5 Sakashimas in many different decks, and Orvar is gonna be the same way. I'm gonna have a billion of this just going in all these decks that Sakashima went in.
Yeah, it'd just be another slot in. Like, why would
Zach,
you not?
do you want to do this next one since you have a hard on for it as well?
Yeah, we off off podcast camera, whatever you want to say. We had a conversation about this card already, and I was just going on about it. But it's Burning Rune Demon. It's 4 black for a Demon Berserker, 6/6 flying. When Burning Rune Demon ETBs, you may search your library for exactly 2 cards not named Burning Rune Demon that have different names. If you do reveal those cards, an opponent chooses one of them, put the chosen card in your hand and the other into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. This is just a better RuneScar Demon. I'm saying it. I don't feel bad about it. It's cheaper. It's one cheaper. It's actually, like, as of right now, it is cheaper to purchase technically. And the fact that it not only lets you tutor, but also entomb is super powerful. Most black decks are going to see this as only upside and no downside.
It's a cool card.
I'm very, very happy and excited about this card.
I'm not a big demon guy. But I am a big dragon guy though.
Then do you want to talk about this next dragon?
Yeah, so we got Gold Span Dragon. Cost 3, 2 red. Creature dragon. Flying haste, and whenever Golden Span Dragon attacks, create a treasure token. And you know how much I love treasures.
You know how much I love treasures.
Yeah, get out of here. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. What?
I can't wait to see the Dockside Extortionist riding the dragon. This card's definitely going to have a home in at least one deck that I own.
This goes in Negan, 100%.
Goes in my dragon deck.
Ryan, I'm pretty sure this next card is all you.
Yeah, I'm excited for this guy. It's Tyvar Kell. He's 2 colorless, green. Elves you control have tap to add a black mana to your mana pool. He comes into play with 3 loyalty. His +1 is put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target elf. Untap it. It gains death touch until end of turn. His 0 ability is create a 1/1 green elf creature token. And his -6 is you get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn and you draw 2 cards. This thing is a monster card advantage machine.
This should not have been printed.
Yes, it should have.
Elves have already been broken.
No, elves are not broken.
You know what's insane to think about here? It's like just as +1, you can untap Well-Wisher, you can untap Priest of Titania, you can untap
Elvish Archdruid,
Azuri,
Timberwatch Elf.
Yeah, that's.
You guys are just making my point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's like
this was one of the ones that I saw, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, they're just forcing Golgari elves. Like, here, do it. You've asked for it. Here it is. My Land of War elves can now produce green or black.
That card's so good.
It is
so good.
So our next mythic we're going to talk about, because we're just doing mythics first, and then we'll get to the rares.
Yeah.
So our next mythic that we're going to talk about, I'm actually really excited, is Eradicator Valkyrie. It's 2 black for a 4/3 Angel Berserker. So a lot of really cool creature types in this set. Flying, lifelink, hexproof from Planeswalkers. And it's also got another new mechanic stapled on it called Boast. It's 1 black. You sack a creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker. And Boast says activates ability only if a creature attacked this turn and only once each turn. So this will also probably go in Negan if I open it.
Can you not?
No, why not?
So, Zach, you talked about things like Sakashima where you needed 12 copies, or the new Changeling that you needed 12 copies. This is a card that I need like 12 copies of.
And I guarantee it's not going to be expensive. No. I could see it seeing play in Standard for sure, just because of it being really, like, it's curved very well, and the flying lifelink is just nuts.
There is no downside to this card.
Mm-mm.
Do you know what?
So
I think we'll just keep going here with what's on the screen, because they clearly saw that elves was going to be a problem and how to make this white card. Doomscar.
That's a rare.
I
Yeah,
know.
we still
I'm
have-
just saying because I just saw it.
Well, let me finish the last of the mythics, and then you can
Oh,
start us off.
yes,
with
this
Scott.
one. This one. You
Okay.
can, by all means.
This card, I had I saw this card when it was first leaked, and we thought it was fake, and then it got confirmed, and I was like a kid on Christmas morning. It is Vorinclex Monstrous Rider, 4 colors, green for 6/6 legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. He has trample and haste. If you would put one or more counters on a permanent or a player, you put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. If an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many of each of those kinds of counters on a permanent or player instead, round down.
Interesting.
This card is insane.
And the whole
What I really-
Phyrexian creature type's new too, right? I heard that they went
Yes,
back and
the original-
errataed some.
The original Praetors were just, I think,
Mhm.
legendary creature Praetor.
What's really sick about this card too, if you guys have kept up with like the Judge promos or whatever, Elish Norn was one of the first cards that have the actual Phyrexian script through the entire card. And I think as a nod to that, they did that with this card. It's kind of like the Teferi from, what was that, 20, where he had like 6 different
M21.
printings. Yeah, he had like 6 different printings, and Vorinclex are doing the same way, where you get the normal one, the Phyrexian script one, or the showcase art that's like all look like it's etched in runes.
Oh,
I want the showcase art
that's
so
neat.
bad.
I haven't seen any of those ones. I'll have to try to find
And
those.
this thing with doubling season, branching evolution, and
All of the token doublers.
So we still have 3 more mythics to talk about in the multicolor section. So I'm going to start that while you guys catch up. The first one is Kaya. She's back. The Inexorable. It's 3 white black for a 5 loyalty Kaya. You can +1. You put a ghost form counter on up to 1 target non-token creature it gains when this creature dies or is put into exile. Return it to its owner's hand. Create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. -3. Exile target non-land permanent. -7. You can emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or among cards you own in exile without paying its mana cost. So very strong Kaya. And she's got a cool mohawk.
And the most important thing about a planeswalker, one of her abilities protects herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's always important.
I'm actually really excited about this next one if no one else wants to talk about it.
No, by all means. I don't like planeswalkers.
I typically don't either, but I think this one's super interesting. I'm probably going to butcher the name, but Nico Aris is a new planeswalker. They are X white blue for legendary Nico for 3. The static ability is when Nico Aris enters the battlefield, create X shard tokens. They're enchantments with 2, sack this enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card. That's just insane to me. I think it's such a good ability to have just as a static. They're +1, up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever this creature deals damage to this turn, return it to its owner's hand. -1, Nico Aris deals 2 damage to target tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn, and -1, create a shard token.
It's cool.
So we got it's interesting how the last couple sets they've been coming out with mythic serpents.
Yeah.
Maybe they're slowly just giving serpents some love, not my worms. So we got Coma, Cosmos Serpent, 3, 2 green, 2 blue. Legendary creature Serpent. This spell can't be countered. At the beginning of each upkeep, create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. Sacrifice another serpent, choose one. Tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. Or Coma Cosmos Serpent gains indestructible until end turn. Okay. This is like a Sylvar for serpents now.
Yes.
But without the
I
+1/+1 counters.
I figured you would very much like that.
And it's in blue and green.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll have to...
I think it's good. I don't think it's amazing, but I definitely think it's good.
I wouldn't run it as a commander, but well, it's too expensive. Like to me, it's 7 mana. It's too expensive. But like, I guess you're in the land of ramp, right?
You're in Simic. Like,
Yeah.
think about that. There's so many ways to cheat. That 7 might as well be 5, honestly. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a difference, but
Yeah.
it is. So that does it for our mythics. I don't think we missed anything. So Brian, do you want to start off the rares with the card you were trying to read like 6 times now?
Yeah, I will. So we got Doomskar. So they made this obviously because there's elves. 3 white, destroy all creatures, or foretell. So put it into exile for 2, and then cast it for 3. 1 and 2 white.
Yes.
Get rid of them all. Gone.
I'm reading this next one.
Sure.
This next one is Icebreaker Kraken. It's 10 blue for an 8/8. It's a snow creature, which that was the other thing that I was talking about earlier. They brought back snow. I was trying to brew a snow deck, and Ryan can attest to this for a while. And finally, like the set came out, and it was just like, oh, I can do it, and it's not going to be terrible.
I think it's funny that initially you'd given up on it, and then as more cards got leaked, you got more and more excited and went right back to it.
Yeah, and since then I've been buying like little bits of cards everywhere. But enough of story time. So this is Snow Creature Kraken. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each snow land you control, so it's probably only going to be 2 blue in my case. When Icebreaker Kraken ETBs, artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap during their player's next untap step. So what it should read is when Icebreaker Kraken enters the battlefield, artifacts and creatures Brian controls don't untap during his next untap step. No, I love you, Brian. Return 3 snow lands you control to their owner's hand. Return Icebreaker Kraken to its owner's hand. So, big beefy creature that you can potentially cast for nothing. Late game, you can use it to, keep someone tapped down so you can hit them real hard, and then it protects itself. It's kind of everything you want to see on a big beater.
Yep.
Yeah. Good card.
Ryan, I think you wanted to read this next one, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this card. Tybalt's Trickery. It's a colorless and a red for an instant. Counter target spell. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then they put the exiled cards on the bottom of their library in a random order. So it's literally mill 3. Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah, mill 3. And then the first non-land card that you hit, you get to play.
Is this the first red mill card?
Yes, and it's, a solid, firm counterspell. That's the first, I think the first actual red counterspell. They have like red elemental blast and blue elemental blast, but those are conditional. This is just a full-on red counterspell.
You counter the spell, and then they get to play something.
Yeah, so you counter the spell, and then either they're milling 1, 2, or 3 cards. Then they're exiling the top card of their library until they hit a non-land permanent or spell.
Gotcha.
And then they may cast it without paying its mana cost. Then the cards that they the cards that they exiled that they can't cast go on the bottom of their library.
It's basically just another what's it called? I can't think of what it's called. It was just in my mind. It's a chaos warp, but for spells.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But I think it's going to really hit home in like CEDH. Like I think this is going to be a staple in those formats. But I also think it's going to be a staple in red decks going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Will definitely be interesting to see what goes on with that one.
All right, Brian, do you want to take this next card? I feel like this is something you would like.
Okay, so we got what is this? Raydan, God of the Worthy, 2 and a white. Legendary creature, God, Flying and Vigilance. Snow lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Ha, Zach. Non-creature spells your opponent's non-creature spells your opponent's cast with converted mana cost 4 or greater cost 2 more to... Oh, wow. 2 more to cast.
This is definitely going to see a home in a lot of the like Staxy
decks, yeah. Because that's like once you get into later games, like a lot of the bigger win cons cost a lot of money.
It also has a modal side.
Yeah, I was gonna say the backside's also really nuts.
So the artifact is Valkimra Protector's Shield. If a source an opponent's control would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent one of that damage. Whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent's controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1. Amazing.
And the shield side is 3 and a white.
Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty crappy. I don't want to play against this card. I don't like it.
There's just so much interest. Like they definitely included a lot.
This set very much feels like Ikoria to me in the regards that like everything seems interesting. It doesn't feel just like a standard set that, you know, has cool stuff in it, but ultimately it's just kind of bland. This set is very flavorful with just the callback to the different gods and the art and just the uniqueness of every card. Like I want to read every single card from the set because everything just feels so unique. Like we haven't had an effect like this before.
I feel like a lot of thought actually went into this. Like a lot of creativity and uniqueness. Plus, I'm on a kick of Vikings and everything from Netflix and all that stuff, so.
Yeah. Does anybody want to read the next one?
Sure, I'll take it. Cosima, God of Voyage, 2 colors, blue, legendary creature god for a 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile Cosima. If you do, it gains whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If Cosima is exiled, you may put a Voyage counter on it. If you don't, return Cosima to the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, and draw X cards where X is the number of Voyage counters on it. And then its backside is the Amonkeel, is a colorless and a blue for a 3/3 legendary artifact vehicle. And whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles that many cards from the top of his or her library. You may play cards from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and it has crew 1.
You may play lands. Lands from among those cards.
Yeah, sorry. You may play lands. But it's an interesting card. I think its non-vehicle side is much better than its vehicle side.
I like to actually see vehicles back.
Yeah, I saw this. I was very excited. I want to put it in my Seedry deck because it's my pod racing deck. It has all vehicles in it.
Can you, if you exile it on the Cosima side, can you return it to the battlefield as the vehicle side? I don't think so.
No, because it's coming. It can only come back.
You're putting it on the Cosima, not on the other side.
This might be cool though, as like a mono blue like aggro strategy. For use it as your commander, and then you've got the card advantage side, and then early on you can play the Amonkeel side. I mean, you can play both sides, but the Amonkeel to kind of a little bit of ramp. Well, not really ramp, but at least keep your mana going if you peter out. I don't know.
I mean, technically it can be ramp because you can play lands.
I have to say that I love the first name of this next one. Due to the fact that Ghostbusters had a very good spot in my heart. Egon, God of Death. And his modal side, Throne of Death. Who doesn't like having a throne? So, Egon legendary creature god, costs 2 and a black, Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, sacrifice Egon and draw a card. Hey, Zach, the other sacrifice ability to draw.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't say the most important part of Egon.
The Death Touch?
It's a 6/6.
Oh, crap. I didn't even see that. I haven't even looked at its power toughness yet. Wow. No wonder you want to sacrifice them. Yeah. And then the Throne of Death side only costs a single black. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. Pay 2 and a black, tap. Exile a creature card from your graveyard to draw a card. It's not bad, actually.
It's very solid.
I actually think this card, we generally play the singleton format, but I think this card's going to be really good in the 4 of constructed formats because you just, on turn 1, play the Throne of Death, and then on turn 3, you play Egon, and then you have an endless stream of ways to exile cards out of your graveyard so that you don't have to sacrifice the 6/6 beater.
Very true.
The 6/6 Death Touch. Even if you get something bigger,
Could I take this next one?
Yeah, go for it, man.
This is a card I'm super stoked about. Birgi, God of Storytelling. It's 2 colors and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature god. Whenever you cast a spell, add a red mana, or add red. Until the end of your turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of their turns rather than once. Its flip side is the Harnfell Horn of Bounty. It's 4 colors and a red. Discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you may play those cards this turn.
That's
Very
actually
solid.
a pretty neat card. Or
Yes.
both of them.
Yeah, I think this card has the potential to do some really, really dumb stuff.
Some shenanigans.
Mhm.
Especially if you play like a goblin strategy, or just like real cheap creatures where you're like, I'll play a 1-drop and then I get a red mana. I'll play another 1-drop, I get another red mana.
Oh,
So you can
is every spell.
Yeah.
and then if as you cast 4 or 5 goblins, and then you can cast a card with Storm, and then all the Storm cards, the Storm copies add more red mana to your mana pool, and you just keep like.
Yeah, this is one of those decks that snowballs very quickly.
And then you've got like Jessica's Will that allows you to exile the top cards of your library so you get more cards. Like, I think it can, one of those strategies, it can just get out of hand in a hurry if you hit the right cards.
I really am curious if this would see CEDH play as a deck.
I'm sure it will.
I think it. I mean, I don't know enough about the format. I'll be completely honest, but I think it has the stuff that is needed to kind of get there, and the fact that like you can, Jeweled Lotus, it
Yeah, you
out.
theoretically have it out on turn 1, and you can go off on turn 1.
Yeah, very interesting card. Like I said, I really like what they've been doing with these sets. The sets has been great so far. You guys want to read the next couple of cards? So I've got like 5 cards coming up I'm going to read.
That sounds good. I got Kolvori, God of Kinship. 2 green, legendary creature god. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, Kolvori gets +4/+2 and has vigilance. Oh yeah. 1 and a green to tap. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And model side is the Ringheart Crest. 1 and a green, and it is a legendary artifact. As the Ringheart Crest enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap it to add 1 green. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or a legendary creature spell. Cost 1 and a green. That's not like a too bad like another mana stone.
It's a very interesting card. I'm curious as to how this is going to be built. Like, obviously, it's most likely going to be built around legendary creature matters.
Yeah.
But like, I'm curious how the flip side would be used, if anyone would ever use the flip side, And
the actual artifact?
Yeah, and what creatures, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe an elf build? I'm just curious.
A lot of legendary elves.
Yeah.
I do see, like, because you have things like Multani and Yavimaya and Joriel and all the mono green really good stuff, but I don't think a lot of them share the creature types. I really think you just want to constantly play it.
That's what I was getting at. I'm just curious as to if someone built off the backside with it in mind, like what they would do, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
If you guys have any ideas, let us know, because we're apparently interested.
Well, I mean, when you think though, like if you and I'll just end it real quick on this, but if it's a colorless and a green to add a mana to cast a creature spell the chosen type of, you're better off just casting a ramp spell.
Yeah.
Like I don't see any reason why on turn 2 I would want to put this thing into play on this side, unless you. Oh no, you can't. Yeah, I think you just want to play it with Kaldheim and kind of ignore the backside. But I might be wrong. Like I said, like Dan said, if you've got ideas, sorry, Brian, if you've got ideas, send them to us.
One more thing, you can tap it to add a green for a legendary creature spell because it's chosen type or a legendary creature spell, so that is relevant.
Yeah.
Brian, you want to read this next card, or whoever? I don't care. I'm reading the next couple.
So we got Sigrid, God of Favored, 1 and 2 white, legendary creature, human warrior. Flash, first strike, protection from god creatures. Interesting. When Sigrid, God Favored, enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target attacking or blocking creature until Sigrid leaves the battlefield. Interesting.
That's cool.
It's super cool.
I think it's narrow. It's pretty narrow. Well, no, not the flash and first strike. Flash first strike is just sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But the protection from god creatures? That's pretty interesting. Because a lot of the god creatures are relevant in EDA, like in our format.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Moving on. This is stuff I'm excited about. Everything else doesn't matter. Next card we're going to talk about is Ascended Spirit. It's 1 blue for a snow creature spirit. You can pay 2 snow mana. Ascended Spirit becomes a spirit warrior with base power and toughness 2/3. It starts off as a 1/1. Then you could pay 3 snow mana. If Ascended Spirit is a warrior, put a flying counter on it and it becomes a spirit warrior angel with base power and toughness 4/4. Then you can pay 4 snow mana. If Ascended Spirit is an angel, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it and it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I love this card. It's a snow creature, it's already cool, but what's really awesome is it's a callback to Warden of the First Tree, who's a callback to Figure of Destiny, and they all operate the same way. You can only like, it's like a level up mechanic, which I like level up to begin with, but that's what you're doing. It has to be one thing before it can become another, before it can become the last.
Yeah,
so very cool card
as well.
Yeah, it's a very cool card. I think it will see a moderate amount of play just from this set specifically because snow matters. And what's cool is it's not telling you what snow mana you have to use. You just have to use snow mana. So for 1 blue, it can literally fit in any deck that cares about snow or just has snow mana to use randomly.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
No. Next card is my favorite god from the set. We've already done an episode on it, so I won't go into huge detail, but I'm just super excited about this card. It's Turgid, God of Fright, 3 black for a 4/5 god. It has Menache, and whenever an opponent sacks a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Like Dan said a billion times, it's not your graveyard, it's our graveyard. It's not your.
I don't have the music.
Our favorite passage. The backside is Turgid's Lantern. It's 3 and a black for a legendary artifact. You can tap it. Target player loses 3 life unless they sack a non-land permanent or discards a card. And then 3 and a black to untap Target's Lantern. Very strong, cool. Very good. I don't really care about this dwarf if someone wants to read that.
Brian, you like dragons. He talks about dragons in here.
So this one is Magda, Brazen Outlaw, 1 and a red, legendary creature, dwarf berserker. Other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasures to search your library for an artifact or a dragon card, and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
I think this goes into Negan.
Get out of here.
Well, yeah.
It does.
Go get Lucille.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or something else stupid. It's a cool card. I love that dwarfs got love. If you don't care about dwarves, Berserker is a creature type in this set that I think is new. Might not be, but I know it's actually supported in this set, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The next god, all right, I lied. I said Turgid's my favorite, but it might be Jorn, or it's a very close tie. But this is Jorn, God of Winter. It's 2 and a green for a legendary snow creature god, 3/3. Whenever Jorn attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. Jorn is very good, but the flip side is insane in my opinion. It's Caldring the Rime Staff for 1 blue-black. So this is a Sultai commander. It's a legendary snow artifact. You tap Caldring, and you may play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it ETBs tap. So what's awesome is it says you may play, so you can hit your lands or you can hit
Anything that has
creature
snow
spells. Yeah, it's awesome. And with this set, we got a lot of great snow permanents to choose from, whether it be creatures, lands that are basic, or the new dual lands. I'm very, very excited. I've been already building and acquiring cards to build this deck. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I didn't see this one, or I think I saw the Jorn God of Winter, but I didn't see his artifact that he turned into. Like, yeah, I know that's going in your deck, obviously, for your snow.
Yeah, it's going to be the commander. It was going to be
the turtle.
The turtle, yeah, because it had a snow feel, with tapped, untapped, what have you. But Jorn is now the commander.
Makes sense. Like that, obviously, 100 makes sense. So I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, this next card also is absolutely insane.
Oh, there's snow sorceries and interesting. Okay, go right ahead. Do it.
Yeah. So we have Search for Glory, which is 2 and a white for a snow sorcery. Search your library for a snow permanent card, a legendary card, or a saga card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. You may gain 1 life for each snow mana spent to cast the spell.
Cool card.
This is really
nuts.
neat. You had snow lands before, now you got snow everything, but I guess it makes sense when in the past they had tribal spells, so elf sorcery, so I get it.
I also like that card, while snow can be relevant, it still does a lot without the snow.
That's exactly what I was going to get at. Like, being able to just find a legendary card, being able to find a saga, which in most white decks, they care about sagas. So having the modal ability, and even worst case, 3 mana, if you're just playing snowlands, you can ramp in mono white with a sorcery card. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. Can I take the next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Graven Lore. It's 3 colorless, blue for a snow instant. Scry X, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast a spell, then draw 3 cards.
It's so cool.
Yeah, and I find that a lot of people, when they run mono blue, they tend to run all snow, even if they don't care about snow. Well, now they have a reason to care about snow.
Exactly.
There's also that Sphinx, and I can't remember the name of it, from Commander Legends, that whenever you scry, you draw a card. Instead of scry. So you could pay 5 with snow, draw 5 cards, then draw 3 cards. So you can draw 8 cards for 5 mana.
At instant speed.
That's bonkers.
That's funny.
Yep.
I like that.
It's the snow stuff is really cool because it's just incidental value. I can't tell you how many decks I've seen people playing just snow lands because they like how they look. Not even because they're relevant. Now, it's just incidental value, I'm going to play Graven Lore because there's no reason not to. It's just a good draw spell.
Yeah, it's really good.
Another snow card we have is Blood on the Snow. It's 4 black for a snow sorcery. You can choose one. Destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers, then return a creature or planeswalker card with CMC X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast a spell. It's phenomenal. It's just so good.
There's a lot of cards that are like that.
Brian, you want to take this next one? So
we got Tundra Fumarole, 1 and 2 red, snow sorcery. Tundra Fumarole deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. You just give me all the weird words to say.
Unintentionally, sorry.
4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Add 1 colorless for each snow spent to cast the spell. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as the steps end. So red,
cool card.
So red ramp.
It's very interesting, right?
Every color is now going to be required to run snow lands. I hope every land that we get out of this deck is a snow land, because it's kind of hard to get.
Yeah. Next card is Blessing of Frost. It's 3 and a green for a snow sorcery. Distribute X+1/+1 counters among any number of creatures you control, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast a spell. Then draw a card for each creature you control with power of 4 or greater.
I really like this card, but the decks that I would want it in would not be able to really capitalize on the snow mana.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things like I was looking. Tomer from Commander Clash was tweeting a lot about this stuff where there are a lot of really cool cards that you would want to use in other decks, but it almost forces you to have to play play snow lands just to really get used out of it. Because Blessing of Frost is very powerful, but if you don't have snow mana and you just put it in like a normal deck, you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, like I would really want this in my Kalfner deck because all it cares about is +1/+1 counters. But I run like 9 basic lands in the whole deck, maybe even less than that.
Yep.
Hey,
that's
we got Aragorn in the next card.
Well, go ahead and read it.
Rally the Ranks, 1 and a white enchantment. As Rally the Ranks enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Ghosts.
Spirits.
Yeah, spirits. Creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+1. So they ban one thing and then they make another. Sounds good to me.
This card really doesn't do anything for me. It's too narrow.
It makes white weenies viable.
Yeah, but you have to play like human. Well, I mean, maybe in like white or white-black clerics.
Or it goes in a changeling tribal deck.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
Which is totally not what I'm doing.
Well, you're not doing it with white.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing 5 color. I'm using Morpheron.
Oh, interesting.
It's just all gonna be changing.
So
I'll take this.
I saw this
Go ahead,
name. I'll let you read it, but I saw this name and the first word, like I was like, Daniel might not like this. I haven't read it yet. But
I mean, it's kind of Daniel-ish, like anti-Daniel. Cyclone Summoner, 5 colorless, blue for a 7/7 giant wizard. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, return all permanents to their owner's hands except for giants, wizards, and lands. This is gonna. I mean, unfortunately, fortunately, you can't it doesn't have flash, but this is gonna lead to some miserable.
It's the same. It's the same CSC as Cyclonic Rift.
But it won't be miserable if I'm playing changelings.
Yeah, because all your crap stays.
Choose which one you like, giants or wizards. What are my creatures?
I'll let you pick.
So we're getting some more clerics, which is nice.
Yeah, this card is super, super cool, and I find it very unique that this effect is on a black card.
Go ahead.
It's Dream Devourer. It's 1 black for a demon cleric. Each non-land card in your hand without Foretell has Foretell. Its Foretell cost is equal to the mana cost reduced by 2. And then whenever you foretell a card, Dream Devourer gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and it starts out as a 0/3. Super weird.
But if you build your deck right, you could foretell a bunch of creatures and kind of blow up the world. Oh no, because he needs to be in play. I wonder how that would work. If you exile the cards to for foretell and then he is gone, do you still get to use them?
We have to ask Lotus.
Yep, because that would be cool. You play a bunch of creatures, then you wrath, and then all your creatures cost. If you play it right, they're 1 white or 1 black to play all your creatures. If you play it in a black-white clerics deck, I
want to say that if he's gone and and you foretold the card, you should still be able to do the thing. But I don't know. We'll have to ask Lotus if we forget. And Lotus, if you're listening, please message me directly and let me know.
Even if you don't, though, if you use it in a black-white cleric deck, keep him in play, foretell a bunch of stuff, and then they all cast for a white and a black, and then he gets whenever you foretell, he gets +2/+0. You could almost alpha strike somebody pretty cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
Especially things like Skyclave Apparition and Tide Hollow, things that when they come into play, they exile other creatures, and
So this
Yes.
next card, I
card's
love it.
dope.
I love it just for its flavor text. It is Arnie, Broken Brow, 2 and a red. I'm going to read his flavor text first. I headbutted a troll and won. He has a legendary creature, Human Berserker, haste, boast for 1 colorless. You may change Arnie Berserker's power to 1 plus the greatest power among other creatures you control until end of turn. He is a 3/3.
It's a cool
Yep.
card.
That's very interesting.
Our resident dwarf is excited about this.
I don't know who that might be, but
Benson. He loves
Ah.
dwarves.
I didn't know.
He's so excited about this card.
He is. It's just, yeah. Anyways, someone take the next card.
Well, it has cats, so any one of us should want to read this card. I'll take it. So it's another weird name. Esika's Chariot. Esika's Chariot. 3 and a green. Legendary artifact vehicle. When Esika's Chariot enters the battlefield, create 2/2/2 green cat creature tokens. Whenever Esika's Chariot attacks, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Crew for 4, and it's a 4/4.
Very cool card. Everything about this card is neat.
They're so floofy.
Yeah, it's like, it's super silly, but like looking at it, it's already a vehicle, which is awesome. When you cast it, you get 2/2/2 cat creature tokens. Cats are relevant. Just the fact that they're creature tokens is relevant, and then getting to copy target token you control. Everything about this card is very, very cool. It is silly, but it does a lot of very neat things. The next card on the list is Glorious Protector. It's 2 white for an Angel Cleric 3/4 with flash and flying, and Foretell for 2 and a white. When Glorious Protector ETBs, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until Glorious Protector leaves the battlefield.
It's a cool card.
Yeah, that's very cool. Just being able to protect your board. I will definitely sacrifice this creature to save my board. It's in white, so yeah, pretty cool.
The next card is Cosmos Charger, 3 colorless and a blue for a 3/3. He's a creature horse spirit. It has flying flash. Foretelling cards from your hand cost 1 less and can be done on any player's turn. And its foretell cost is 2 colorless and a blue. This card's awesome.
That one's really good.
I kind of want to make a Grixis Foretell deck, honestly.
Well, it's even cool with this guy. Like if you play him and then you can make a copy of him, then your foretell spells are free.
Yeah.
Next we got Crippling Fear, which is 2 and 2 black. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn. 4 CMC for that's not even that bad, actually. I would use that.
No. Yeah, it's really solid.
It is a sorcery.
Next card we got Dragonkin Berserker. It's 1 and a red for a human creature Berserker. It's a 2/2 first strike. Both abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate for each Dargon you control. So there you go, more stuff for your Dargon decks. And then Boast, 4 and a red. Create a 5/5 red Dargon creature token with flying.
There we go. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
All right, I'm taking this next one. I'll fight you.
Fine.
This is my favorite card in the set.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
This looks amazing.
I'm so excited.
It's In Search of Greatness. It's 2 green for an enchantment. Yes, 2 green. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a permanent spell from your hand with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the highest converted mana cost among other permanents you control without paying its mana cost if you don't scry 1. This card is bonkers.
I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand how this
doing what they do. They're making green great again.
I don't understand how it's not a mythic. It just blows my mind.
I don't understand that it costs 2 green.
Yeah.
This card is like it's almost an auto include in any green deck.
Well, all right, so it goes in any green deck, sure, but like think of stuff that, we'll say Simic or Sultai or Temur,
Anything
anything
that
that
just
has,
ramp stuff out.
well, not even just that, but cards that give you access to Paradoxical Haze, right? Where you get 2 upkeep triggers.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's pretty sweet. Hold on.
That's really true.
I forget, the Sphinx of the Second Sun, that doesn't give you another upkeep, right?
I don't believe so, but I haven't really read it.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. Yeah, card's insane. We're going to keep moving. Brian, you want to take this next one because I want to read the one after.
Yeah, because we got Righteous Valkyrie, 2 and a white. Creature, Angel Cleric, flying. Whenever another angel or cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to the creature's toughness. Automatically going into my cleric deck. As long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. For 3 CMC, okay. Thank you, Wizards. I will just say thank you.
So Sphinx of the Second Sun does work with In Search of Greatness because it gives you, after your post-combat main phase, there's an additional beginning phase. That includes untap, upkeep, and draw.
My SC deck is going to be excited.
So the next card is one that I think everyone's super excited about, and by everyone I at least mean me, is Mystic Reflection. It's 1 blue. Choose, for an instant, choose target non-legendary creature. The next time 1 or more creatures or planeswalkers ETBs this turn, they enter that as a copy of chosen creature. And you can foretell for 1 blue.
Card's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I'm taking this next one.
By all means.
Skemfar Avenger. It's a colorless and a black for a 3/1. It's a elf berserker.
Avenger.
Whenever another elf good lord, you got me all flustered. Whenever another non-token elf or berserker you control dies, you draw a card and you lose life. Clearly this goes into all the berserker decks.
Yes.
What berserker decks?
And
exactly.
Probably elf.
Maybe. I could see it fight into space.
Why? Like, why Wizards?
Oh, it gets better. Not the next card, but the one after. Even
so we got Reckless Crew, which is...
Hold on. Before you go to Reckless Crew, the one thing I do like about it is it's not a you may. So if someone overextends and does the elf ball thing and has like 30, 40 elves,
they draw their deck.
Yeah. Well, you just kill them, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
You wipe the board. They gonna die.
Gonna have to start running Well Wisher.
Right.
So we got,
now you can take Reckless Crew.
Yeah. So Reckless blah blah blah. Reckless Crew, 3 and a red sorcery. Create X 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature tokens, where X is the number of vehicles you control plus the number of equipment you control. For each of those tokens, you may attach an equipment you control to it. What did I just read?
It's super, super good. You're getting to make tokens, which is awesome. And they're not just typical 1/1 tokens, which I really like. And you get it for the number of vehicles you control plus the number of equipment you control.
Yeah.
And then you can attach them with their equipment. Like, it rewards you for playing dwarf vehicles like they started in Kaladesh without any real support. So it's nice. This set feels like they did a very good job at like giving certain tribes and archetypes that had minimal support a lot of support, because there are a ton of like spaces that have now been filled with different cards from this set.
All right, Brian, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Elvish War Master. It's a colorless and a green for an elf warrior, 2/2. Whenever 1 or more other elves enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. And then pay 5 green. Elves you control get +2/+2 and death touch until end of turn.
Ridiculous.
Like, it would be even more ridiculous if it didn't say this ability triggers only once each turn.
Yeah, Golgari elves are really becoming a thing.
All right, I'm going to read the next 3 cards, so you guys just have to step down for that. The first one is Runeforge Champion, 2 and a white for a 2/3 dwarf warrior. When Runeforge champion ETBs, you may search your library and or graveyard for a rune card. Reveal it and put that card into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. You may pay 1 rather than pay the mana cost for rune spells you cast. Rune spells are very cool. We'll get to some later, but they're really neat, and I hope we see a lot more of them. This guy's just sweet. He's probably going to go into my Glen deck. He meets everything that I like about him. This next card, I'm going to mess up the name because I don't know how I'm supposed to say it, but bear with me, is Reflections of Lajara.
That's how I would pronounce it.
That's how I pronounce it.
I would assume the J doesn't sound like a J, but
Latara?
I don't know what it. Yeah, I don't know what it's supposed to sound like. So it's 4 blue for an enchantment. As Reflections, ETBs, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell.
That's stupid.
Copy it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
There's some really insane cards here.
I'm reading this next one, so log off. This next one, it's another tribe that we've seen in D&D for years, but hasn't had any support in Magic. With the companies being linked, you think we'd seen these much sooner. And it seems like I don't know how I feel about the creature, like the type that they chose, but we have Dorgar and Necromancer. It's 3 and a black for a snow creature zombie cleric. It's a 4/4. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card with an ice counter on it instead. You may cast spells from among cards in exile your opponent's own with ice counters on them, and you may spend mana from snow sources as though were mana of any colors to cast these spells.
He has like the same hammer as Aura.
You said what?
I said, let me guess, it's going in your snow deck.
I think it just goes really in any deck. Like once again, like if you just play Snowlands just because you like how they look, I don't know why he wouldn't go in any deck that could.
This actually might be awesome in my Rankle deck if I just go get a bunch of Snowlands.
It's just a very powerful effect. Like if he gets removed, whatever, the cards are still exiled from him. So if you bring them back, if you were to bring it back, which we're in black, you're able to do so. So you can just keep doing the thing.
Next up, we have Calamity Bear. We got 2 red. Creature, a giant berserker. We've got a lot of these berserkers. If a giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. Just some more doubling.
I really wish that Brash Tunner was a giant goblin.
Or a goblin berserker.
Yes.
All right. The next one is Old Growth Troll. It's triple green for a 4/4. Creature Troll Warrior. It has trample. When Old Growth Troll dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with Enchant Forest you control. And Enchant Forest has tap, add 2 green and 1 colorless, tap, sacrifices land, create a tapped 4/4 green troll warrior creature token with trample.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with this card. It's sweet though.
It's a cool card.
I'm confused, but yeah, that was pretty interesting.
If it's a creature, it replaces itself as an aura enchanted to a forest, right? Then you can tap that forest, it adds 2 green, or you can pay 1, sack it, and get a 4/4 troll warrior creature with trample. So you either have the troll, or have a what's it called? Wild growth?
Yeah.
Or have a troll again.
I kind of wish, and I understand why they didn't make it legendary, but I kind of wish it was legendary so that you could, when it died, it went to the graveyard, came back, enchanted the land. You could tap, sack the land to get the 4/4, then it would go to the command zone, and then you could play it again and just keep recycling itself over and over and over.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
That would be very cool. They could have easily done that if they just made it like a legendary token.
Yep.
Thank you guys for listening. That's some of the takes on unfortunately we would have to take more time to go through all of them. There's just so much to take a look at in this set. It's bonkers. Like going through this stuff, because like half of these cards I didn't even see. Like this is the first time that I've seen them. Elves, elves just keep getting so much love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
but you know what? I think it's one of those creature types that are people's favorite creature types.
Yes. I stopped building them because they're just so overpowered at times. But they
No, I don't
are
disagree.
just so fun, though.
I'm super excited about my snow, my changeling stuff. I told you guys there are probably 5 decks I'm building out of Kaldheim specifically, and one of them is like Morpheron with just the changelings from this set. But
Is
I'm
there
super
that many
excited.
changelings just from this set that you're able to?
It's not just from this. I should rephrase that
Okay.
because they were in Lorwyn and Modern Horizons. But what I mean is like there are just better ones that it's finally something I feel like I can do and it be done where I don't feel like I'm just kind of hoping I don't lose every second.
Yeah, there's a lot in this set that I was talking to somebody. I find that like Commander Legends, we had a lot of just things that were just bonkers and over the top, and there are a lot of good cards in this set, but I don't think there's anything that I'm just like, holy crap, I absolutely have to build around it because it's too good. But there's a lot of solid additions to this deck.
You mean search for
No, but like,
Search of Greatness
no.
isn't a build around?
No, but I think like I can't make in Search for Greatness my commander.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
I
there's
do
nothing.
know what you mean.
But I don't think this set is. I think this set as an overall has a lot of powerful things, but I don't think there's things in this set that are just so unbelievably overpowered.
The green elf planeswalker.
I don't think but he's not your commander.
I don't.
I said it already.
OP.
I said it already, and I'll say it again. Ikoria is probably my favorite set that Wizards has done. And what I liked about Ikoria, I feel like they've capitalized again on here in Kaldheim.
Yep.
It's a very flavorful set. It feels like I'm going to sound like an awful content creator, so forgive me. I don't know if we have storyline behind this set yet, but what I like about it is I feel like even though I don't know any of the story, I feel like with how the cards operate, with the art, with just the watermarks for the different clans, it really feels like I can look at just the cards and have the story of the set.
The only thing that I'm truly bummed about this set is there's no Yetis. Wizards, you got to give us more Yetis.
No, more worms. I call dibs. I've been asking first.
Yeah, we do. We do have a Yeti.
Do we?
Frost Peak Yeti. It's a snow creature Yeti.
There's one card.
So we'll talk about the Yeti on a later episode. I don't even know which one it is. So you can find. So make sure to check us out into the99.com. You can find it's your one-stop shop for all of our content, all in one place, as well as every Tuesday night we do our stream. Myself and Zach. Ryan occasionally joins. And we bring on guests from the community, other content creators, or just people from our Discord server. If you're looking for our Discord server, it's in our Linktree link below. Please join us. We talk all things Magic and just have a great time in the community. As well, if you want to help support us and our content that we are creating, you can check us out on patreon.com. Some new tiers and things coming in the future, as well as our merch store. You can show your support by buying a t-shirt or a sweater. Again, when it comes to all of these things, all the proceeds go right back into what we're doing here, making our content better, and so we can bring more to you guys, the community. We love you all.
Yes.
If you guys if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave a like and a review, hopefully positive. It really helps other people find us and get our content to more ears.
Yes. If Brian has ruined you on Magic by talking, please don't let his opinions stop you from loving the rest of us.
And I guess always, Brian dies first.
No, Brian does not die first. No, we're getting rid of that. Biggest threat dies first, so probably Ryan, or if Jake is playing with us, Jake has to die first.
I'm nice. I don't try.
Shout out to Casual Jake.
He does it back.
Or Han. Han dies first.
Because Han always has to die first.
And on that note, have a great night or great day. Great
See you
one.
guys.
See you guys.